Okay, this is part 2 of the previous episode. So back to what happened when I was sleeping at the dealership. Well, after that crazy dude went off on me, I kind of just went about my business and just slept behind a wall, or I slept between my bike and a wall and just posted up with the sleeping bag. And it was quite warm. There wasn't nothing too bad. I just couldn't really fall asleep because of the amount of people that was walking by me and my bike and asking me questions and shit like that. And it was always freaking me out. But I did manage to get about like an hour or two of sleep, and that was just fine. I moved my bike when the dealer guys started showing up, and I asked for help to get my bike repaired, and I knew it was going to come. It was going to be a while before I came up with some of the money to get the tire fixed, but I was willing to relocate down there. I was willing to work my ass off. I was willing to get down with the business of selling motorcycles or just repairing motorcycles too, because I've actually took off a back wheel of a Harley 2012 Electra Glide, and I put on a new wheel basically by myself, just with the help of a mechanic telling me what to do and how to put it back together. And that was cool. And I really want to work for a dealership again, or not again, but I really want to work for a dealership. That way I can get more experience and just buying and selling again. With my pitch to the owner and with my pitch to many of the managers there, it just wasn't good enough. They refused to help me, knowing that my tire was about ready to blow too. They just sent me off to another dealership, which was about another 40 miles away, and I was like, fuck. So I was scared to even get on my bike and ride it. I rode another about 40 to 50 miles to Red Bluff, because I think I was in Redding at the time, and I just rode from Washington through Oregon, and just getting into California, I already had a fucking disaster, and it was just a nightmare. Even after explaining all that shit, telling them how I even slept outside, they didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a shit. They didn't care. I was just done with it. Rode off to Red Bluff. Same thing sort of happened there, but luckily, they were able to order a tire for me. The tire wasn't going to come in until the next day, so I was kind of screwed. I was kind of screwed yet again, because now I'm still scared to ride my bike. This place, compared to Redding, is bad. Well, I would say it's a little bit worse than Redding, because I went over to one of the campgrounds. I'm not sure which one it was, but I went there. I stayed there pretty much all day. I even went to one of their parks too, and I hung out by the Sacramento River, which was pretty cool. It's getting late at night, and it started getting later. I was pretty scared to even pull out my tent and pull out my sleeping bag again. Even though the first night I wasn't scared because it was raining and there's nobody around me. I just threw out my tent and I just put everything together really quickly. But unfortunately, there was a lot of people doing crack and doing a lot of meth in that area, like all over. Again, my tires like on the edge. I can feel it about ready to blow itself. I had to leave the dealership just so I can let them do their thing, get the part to come in. So I started up a fire. I'm in a secluded area too. I'm away from everybody and no one even knows where I'm at. Started a fire. It was a small little fire. And then all of a sudden people started showing up. It was scaring me too because I was still kind of half asleep. People started showing up, and then about 15-20 minutes in, people were saying how I stole all their stuff, I was stealing their money, and now I'm noticing like there's all these fucking crackheads coming over, just smoking whatever they're doing, and I'm scared shitless because some of them are pulling out knives as well. I also noticed there was people trying to go through my backpack and my sleeping bag and my tent, and luckily I was smart enough not to pull it out. I told myself I would not take any of my shit off my bike, and I would just light a fire and sleep by the fire. Well, that wasn't the case. I quickly got on my bike. I hopped on my bike and I rode off. I didn't give a fuck about the tire. I rode off. I was scared. I rode off because I'm not going to sit there and just defend my shit against all these people that are methed out or cracked out. Previously, though, during the day when I was at the park, there was a lot of nice people. They were treating me nice, they were being cool. I think they were just probably just setting me up or something, or whatever. But they were starting to tell me like why people in California are homeless and why people don't want to really work down in California. Is because, hey, what's the point of working if, you could lose your job just like that, and B, there's no jobs in California, and C, most of the work that's in California, nobody's trained to do it, and so when politics, especially in states that are in total decay like California, and unfortunately Washington is starting to become like that too. If you go out to one of the major cities like Seattle, Puyallup too, I'm starting to notice that as well, and Tacoma. You just walk out in the streets and you'll notice tents, or you'll notice people just not in the right mindset and so forth. And when politics, they speak how they're trying to better the states, they're trying to better where they are, or they're trying to better America, so everybody needs to vote for that person. Well, if you look at the track record of each politics, they're not really focused on fixing the problems. They're only focused on keeping their votes and keeping the money that they make from the politics. Because a lot of times when you go into politics and you do a very good job, people start to notice. Let's say you're like a very good writer, or you're someone that can pitch very good sales. You can make a lot of money just by giving out speeches, and a lot of these cats will do that, and they will pitch speeches pretending they're hard, and they will sell books. And if they ever do get into one of these positions, they're like, oh shit, what the fuck are we gonna do? So they push bullshit things in Congress, or laws in Congress, going through the House of Representatives and then through Congress. A lot of these things don't go through because it's not going to better the economy or better America. So it's too much to go into on a podcast, especially one like this. I just wanted to talk about my little adventure that I had, and I want to keep on going on with it. Unfortunately, my phone's going to die, and those of you that read my or listen to my previous shows, you guys know that I try to keep this as mobile and coming from the heart as possible. Anyways, so I left the park, or I left the little campground, got out of there hella quick. So now I'm headed back towards the dealership, and this is 12 o'clock at night, so I bought a bunch of energy drinks just in case I needed to stay awake or keep my eyes open. There was a guy in front of me waiting at the dealership too. This is 12 o'clock at night, so it's fucking pitch black out. He was just staring at me. I could see movement in his little camper or little RV, and it looked like a school bus too, so it was kind of fucking creepy. And he's just looking at me through the fucking window, and I'm just sitting there. It's like, am I going to be able to sleep tonight? Am I going to be able to sleep tonight? And I did the same thing like I did at the other dealership. I parked my bike right in front of me, and I posted up by the wall again, and so forth. So after about 5-6 hours maybe just playing on my phone and charging it, there's an outlet right next to me. I went to move my bike, and it's about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I chilled for a few more hours, and then I went in to see if my part was coming in, and then I found out my tire wasn't going to show up until the next day, which was really fucked up. So they gave me an older tire that's been sitting in their shop for for a year, possibly. And it was a little bit bigger tire than my previous one, which was okay, because now my bike feels a lot more stable than it was before, because the previous time I was riding my bike, it would constantly shake and it would move around, and now it just feels normal. So we got that put on. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm kind of running a little short on cash. What should I do? I got two options. I can continue going south towards Riverside or San Bernardino, or I can go back north and go back to Washington. In a matter of seconds, actually, probably I gave it a minute or two, I decided to go back up north to Washington, unfortunately, because I didn't know what could happen next. So I took what was left of my money, and I rode, and I rode. I did not stop. The only time I did stop was to get more energy drinks and food. So I'm pumped up about 7 energy drinks, and I started this mini trip from Red Bluff, California at 1 p.m. So about 5 o'clock, I drank about 7 energy drinks. because I didn't get much sleep the night before. So 5 o'clock, I'm still riding. It's 9 o'clock. I'm still going, but I'm a little bit tired. I popped another energy drink. I kept going. It's about 12 o'clock. I'm already in Oregon by this time. Shit, I rode about 400, say about 300 miles I rode. I decided to myself, I'll sleep at a rest stop. Fuck it. I found the nearest rest stop, and I laid on my bike, and I put my rain cover over me, and I slept there for about an hour until this guy and his girlfriend was creeping me out, staring at me, and then as he was about ready to drive off, he made some really crazy threats. How he said that I should go die in this cold weather. It was horrible. Like, it freaked me out to the point where I should not even close my eyes at a rest stop again if I'm not in a safe area. So I hopped on my bike again. I did. Shit, it's probably about 1 o'clock right now. It's probably about 1 o'clock at the time, because I was only there for about an hour. Hopped on my bike again, about another 300 miles, maybe 350 miles to go. I did it. I rode all the way through Oregon, and I made it to Washington. Fortunately, from the 6 hours of riding, my legs were so bad. It was freezing cold. Icicles were forming all over my bike, and icicles were forming all over cars as well. I stopped at this Chevron up in Tumwater. I managed to get some gas money. I was there for about a good 3-4 hours. I was broke as hell and everything. And thereon, I ended my trip with no sleep at 5 p.m. the next day. Except that 1 hour sleep at the rest stop. And I'd say it was the most adventurous trip I had ever taken, and I would totally do it again all over, but I would bring a lot more money with me next time. That way I won't have to experience all the risks and what could happen, such as like my tire blown out and shit like that. Anyways, thank you for listening. I hope this was a good podcast. I've been working more and more on my social skills and working on my communication. And I feel like over my previous episodes, this is probably one of my best ones that I've ever done in a long, long time. So, again, thank you for listening, and have a great night.